think we have some catching up to do. It's been a whirlwind these last couple of weeks, so let's talk about it. So here is a quick recap of the last 2 months of my life. Start out by leaving TV, which was my dream job. I thought that was the job I would do for the rest of my life, something I was very good at, something I worked very hard at, and never thought that I would not be doing it anymore. Then I went through a breakup, but I'm doing great with that. And then I moved across the country, back to Colorado, and now I'm living with my parents. And it's actually been pretty awesome, okay? My mom is a chef. My mom is a chef extraordinaire. And every single meal she's made, incredible. So that brings us to, well, pretty much where we are today, living in Colorado with my parents, back close to my best friend and my family, which has been great, but not working at a job or for a career that I thought would be my forever. So that's kind of crazy. But while I've been home, I have had a lot of downtime, and I've been able to stop and reflect and rest and reflect on the past couple years of my career, and also dream about a new future, future that I didn't know would exist. And I thought I'd kind of share a little bit about what I've been, kind of learning and discovering. Looking back at my career, I worked very, very, very hard for the time that I was in TV. I was 24 years old when I made it to a top 10 market. I was on-air talent at 24, which is insane. But I worked incredibly hard. And I don't think I realized how much of myself I lost to the grind and to working really, really, really hard. I never said no to a shift. I always said yes. Did a lot to get really good really quickly, but I also didn't have much of a life outside of work, and work was my number one top priority for sure. I believe that as humans, we're supposed to give from the overflow of our cup. We all have a cup that needs to be filled, and I think in the most ideal situation, the healthiest thing to do is to give from the overflow. And my cup was rarely ever full, and what was in my cup I had to give away. And there was so little left for myself that when I would, get home at the end of the day, it was, I just had to literally shut down and just, there was nothing left for myself. It was hard to recognize that, and it was hard to notice that, and then also be like, okay, what do I do about this? Yikes. It was not the best realization, but also I wasn't sure what to do about it. And I think over time, I had to start reevaluating what success meant to me. Was success winning a bunch of awards and being really great at my career? Was success being close with my family and my friends, and having a home to come back to every day? And or what was success to me? And I think when I started in TV, success was get as big as you can, as fast as you can. You want to be at the top, you want to do the most. And I think as time went on and as demands increased significantly, I had to step back and say, this is not what I thought it would be. This is not what I had dreamed of. And that was really hard, because this was what I wanted to do forever. This was my dream. And then having to do something about that, that was scary and hard and really sad. There was definitely a grieving process of saying what I thought this would be isn't what it is. And that's really sad, because I knew it could be what I wanted it to be. But, for factors that I can't control, it wasn't. And that sucks a lot. The good parts were really, really, really good, but the bad parts were really, really, really bad. So that kind of leads us to this new season of life of, okay, now what? Now what do we do? Now what do I want to do? I know so much more of who I am than when I, started in TV. And I think I'm who I want to be. Of course, I always want to keep growing and becoming better and better and better. But this version of myself, I feel like I can trust her, and I know that she's going to take care of me. If that makes sense. Like, this version of me is going to stand up for myself, is going to take care of myself, is going to love myself. Like, I got you, little KK. We're going to make it work, okay? We're gonna figure it out, and it's going to be okay. And then little KK's like, okay, I'm a little scared, but okay. So now I have this opportunity to rest and relax for a little bit, which is such an incredible blessing. Like, I recognize how privileged I am to be able to have a place that I can come back to. I can come and stay with my parents for as long as I need to. And I know that, they will help take care of me, and I have time to just kind of come back to center. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to kind of getting back to full capacity and seeing what comes of that. As far as like what's next, this is the first time in my life I haven't had a 6-month plan, a 1-year plan, and a 5-year plan. So that's really fun for me. I feel great about that. I don't have that plan yet. Let's say that. Okay, we're getting there. But I also realize that, when am I ever going to have, I don't know if I will ever have an opportunity like this where I can just take some time off. This is such a special time in my life that I'm like, okay, be here, Makayla. Like, be in this time period. Like, don't be stressed about, okay, let's try and get the new job. We have to get what's next. We have to do what's next. It's like, no, like, take a moment and realize that this season, no, it wasn't planned, but it's a blessing. And I am very privileged to be able to take advantage of this season. And I plan to. I've spent a lot of time with my parents, my best friend. I've seen my best friend almost every single day that I have been back in Colorado, which has been awesome. I miss her so much. Love you, bestie. Having a place for all the dogs, being able to go walk the dogs wherever I want, that's been really nice. A backyard for the dogs, yeah, that's been awesome. And I'm excited to be home for the holidays for the first time in a long time. But with all that said, I think I want to offer a little bit of encouragement, if I can, to someone who might be in a similar season of having to evaluate your dream. I'm saying, like, this is what I always dreamed of. This is what I always dreamed of doing, being, living, whatever that might look like for you. I hope that I can give you some encouragement to know that it's okay to say, hey, this isn't what I thought. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. And it's okay to make a change. And it's scary. I'm not going to tell you that it's not scary to, completely take a 180 in your life. It was terrifying. But when you know that that's what you're supposed to do, go for it. Take the leap. I kept having this vision in my head of, like, I think it's from that, like the movie Divergent, maybe, where they have to, like, jump into this, it looks like they're jumping into this, like, deep, dark pit, and they just have to trust and jump. They just have to be like, okay, I guess we're jumping. And you can tell that many of them are, like, so terrified, whatever. And when they finally jump, they fall, and then there's a net that catches them at the bottom. And that's kind of what I feel like I had to do. I was like, I don't know what's going to be down there when I jump, but I know that I need to. And I'm grateful for this soft place to land. But if you know that it's time for a change, it's okay. It's okay to, turn in a different direction and say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to try something else. Life is too short for us to, be miserable. Be absolutely miserable. And for what? If it's your dream and you're grinding it out and it's what you want to do, and it's what you always dreamed of, stick with it. But if you have been pursuing something for a while and it's just not panning out how you thought it would, and it's detrimental to your life, or at the very least isn't adding value to your life, there's no harm in reconsidering the path that you've taken and just finding a different way to go. And what I've been telling myself is, hey, the dream can stay the same. You know, the concept of the dream can stay the same. It's just going to be a different path to get there. You know, the way I thought I was going to go to get to where I wanted to go, it's not going to happen anymore. And that's okay. But, you know, keep the dream. At the very least, keep the essence of that dream. And find a new path to get there. You know, maybe redefine the dream of saying, hey, I still want to do this, this, and this. Okay, how do I do that? How do I make that happen in my life? And that's kind of where I'm at, of saying, okay, I still have this dream of what I want to do and what I know that I'm good at and what I know I can bring value to. And the way I was doing it isn't going to work anymore. So we're starting on a new path, and it's scary. It's definitely scary, but it's exciting. And what a blessing that I get to have a new dream and I get to try something new. It's a blessing. Keep telling yourself that, KK. Keep telling yourself. So if you made it all the way to the end, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out, listening to my ramble of this season of life and how we got here and where we're going. I don't really know where we're going, but you know what? Wherever we end up, I'm taking you with me, okay? If you've been in a season like this where you've made a hard pivot and, you know, didn't know what was next, you jumped and didn't know what that net looked like, would love to know your story. Feel free to share. Offer some encouragement for the rest of us who are in it. I don't know where we're going, but we're going to figure it out together. So thanks for hanging with me. I'll see you in the next video.